Hey guys, I'm really excited to show you what I've built today. I spent a bunch of time on this. I built out the entire front end. And the best part is, I didn't write a single line of code myself. All of this is done with our LLMs. We used CRUD in combination, of course, with Windsurf as our main front end interface. In our last tutorial, I showed you how to go from Figma to code. And we've done that exactly to a T here. So I think you're gonna be really impressed what we've built so far. Now, I magically created all of this. So I'm about to show you that first. But after that, we're gonna do a tutorial on how to connect a beautiful front end to a back end so you understand how it connects together with the database. So stay tuned, let's get into it. So this is called the B150 platform. The reason it is called B150 is we're kind of building it off of this idea of Dunbar's number. You may have heard that before. I think Dunbar was a psychologist who did a bunch of research on this. And according to him, well, you can only have about 150 meaningful relationships. And in this, you can have 50 friends, 15 good friends, and 5 closest relationships, and well, me. And so I like this concept. I don't know if it's actually true or not. I'm sure there's things that refute it, but hey, we're going to roll with it. I think it's a good brand idea. So B150 is the platform. This is a platform to help really people manage their careers and do so through different communities. That can be a design community, it could be a leadership community, it could be an entrepreneur community, whatever. So in this case, we're going to just focus on design. That's the community that I know the best. And what you can see here is on the left side, you have a bunch of topics that are within design. So like design systems or AI design or leadership, maybe feedback. And here in the middle container, we just have a classic feed of people posting content and having discussions that can be sorted. There are post interactions like upvoting or downvoting. You can comment, you can save, you can share with others. In addition, on the right side, we have a concept of a moderator for each category. Then we have active job listings. These can be for job posts on our site, which we're going to probably build out later. We actually haven't built out that experience just yet. And then we're going to have a concept of deals. These can be companies who may be interested in selling their services. I really don't want to have a spammy platform. I think framing this as deals instead of ads and really making it about you, the community, I think is a better way to do this. So instead of people just hawking their latest and greatest on our platform or like sending you random spam messages, I hope to eliminate that as part of this community. So that's what this looks like. There is some cool interaction. So we've got like drop-down menus. We have ways to share, edit, delete. When you click these, it turns green, which is really nice. Nice little micro interactions, and red when it's down. I haven't built out any of that logic where you click comment and it'll add like a box or anything like that. But you can see like this feed is looking quite nice and very clear. You can also click to post, and this is all kind of like wired up. Still needs to be connected, but the idea is there. Well, it looks like we did get a few errors, but we'll fix those later. Let's see. This toggles up and down, and we've got a little drop down for our name there. All right, let's check out some other sections. We've got a section to explore. I kind of imagine this almost like the discover page of like Instagram. Definitely some things in the UI that still need work here, but I think like it's coming together. I like this idea. I borrowed it also from Read CV. Let's check out the network page, one of my favorite pages. So here is where you can manage your inner and outer circles. So of course, in the world of business, we have like a bunch of people that we're pretty close with and know, maybe even have worked with before. I consider this your inner circle. That's your 150. It's always going to be 150. But your outer circle may be acquaintances or people you've met in passing or just people you've connected with on the internet. We don't want to exclude them. They should be part of your network, but they're just not part of the inner circle. But I created this nice little data visualization here where we have people that are actually approaching your inner circle. And I would imagine like an idea where possibly these people approach your inner circle because they've interacted with you more. Maybe they comment a lot on your post. Maybe they've messaged you a bunch and you've messaged back, right? You share equal interactions with each other. So there's a give and take here. I'd imagine there could be other things that, might affect this. I'm not really sure exactly conceptually how this will work, but I just really love this visual. You can click on it, and this will actually toggle your inner and outer circle here in the middle. And when you click on each person, you'll be able to see a preview of their profile here on the right side. Which, yeah, I just was really pleased with this page. I think it looks really nice, and it's a fun way to kind of visualize. And if you have ideas about like, why this could be a really impactful idea and could take it further, I'm all ears. Like, please, this is about you guys. Like, I'm building this for you and for me, like, because I'm a member of the community too. All right, let's check out the profile page. So yeah, I spent quite a bit of time on this. We've got a little information about me, more information about me, some highlights about me that I'm an agency founder. Design leadership is something I've done. Industry impact, I've got a podcast. Here's my contact information, some stats that only I'd be able to see, of course. This will be great to kind of track our metrics, profile views, post impressions, search appearance, etc. Then like some quick high level things, years of experience, companies I've led, speaking events I've spoken at, just like some quick hits for people who might be interested. And then my actual, resume, exactly the places I've worked over time. My education, services that I provide, skills that I have, projects I've been a part of, certifications, publications I may have written for, communities I'm a part of, and then languages. Yeah, like pretty robust profile. We've kind of borrowed some of the things from LinkedIn to include here, but yeah, we think these are important. And if there's any other things you think we should add here that be valuable, we try to keep it pretty minimal. Like I want people to focus on the information, not be distracted by too many visuals. But yeah, I think like we can have maybe some visuals, like the way Reed CV did it was really nice. I think we could figure out a way to do that. But yeah, open ideas, suggestions, please give me your feedback. All right, some other cool things that are working. We got dark mode. So for those who love dark mode, it's looking pretty slick. That actually, it does work across the whole app, which is really nice. Probably some accessibility things still need to be worked out here, but just wanted to show you that. I thought it was pretty cool. And then we've got a settings page. So here we've got like our authentication methods and ways to like reset our passwords. A lot of this stuff we are going to have to work out because we set up some basic auth, but yeah, still more to be done there. Changing your photo and stuff. We haven't set that up, but we have the UI. We got these nice toggle buttons working. Actually, this dark mode one works, which is super, super neat. And then like privacy, we have a way to, change your profile visibility. And of course, like we'll need to make this more robust, but yeah, we get the basics kind of set up. So very excited about the UI. Like, I think it looks great. I'm excited about it. This is a community I would want to be a part of. So yeah, let's dive in though to the tutorial. Today, we're going to focus on really trying to get our profile to include information that is actually being pulled from a database. Right now, this information is not. It's basically being housed inside of a JSON file that our app helped us create, and it's pulling that data into this current view. But we need it to come from a database because in the future, that's how our application will function. So what I've done is I actually went over to ChatGPT and I asked it to help me come up with a schema. And a schema is usually some instructions for a database on how it should be structured and how relationships should work. So you can do a little research about like how databases work, and that will kind of help guide you a little bit here. And I know when you see code like this, it may seem intimidating, but just read the text here. It's pretty obvious, right? Like we're going to need some connection statuses like pending, accepted, rejected. Makes sense. Topics, like those are obvious. We're going to need some topics for people to have based on the particular field that we are dealing with or community we're dealing with. We probably will need to expand this out a little bit more because this is only dealing with design. We'll get to that though. Some of the models, the user model, which is very important. That's the one we're going to work on today. So we know like a user has a unique ID that identifies them. That's common in every platform. Just like a created at, updated at. These are just basic info. Email, username, password. Email verified. Name, bio, title, location, profile image. Then there will be profile sections like the ones you just saw. Experiences, which will have their own subset, right? They're going to have you can see these markers mean that there's a whole array of information about that, and we'll get to that in a second. Education, skills, projects, certifications, publications, volunteering, languages. Then each user will have posts and topics that they follow. We'll probably want to add communities into here as well. And then network, these will be connections, pending connections, makes sense. Contact info. And then down below, you can see each of those specific things like experience have their own subsets of things. So like experience will have a role, a company, a domain, a location, description, images, and metrics. So definitely like we're on the way. You can see that like we've got all of this stuff kind of mapped out. Whether or not this is 100% correct right now remains to be seen. We probably could do a little bit of cleanup on this, but we're going to do our best. We can always change things later. So just in terms of a plan, like what we're actually going to do here. So we've already set up database authentication. That does need a lot of work, but I think that and we'll just double check that that's still like okay. But this might actually be, what? I'm confused. This is actually database authentication, not necessarily authentication of a user. So I think we are probably going to need to do something with this, but it'll prompt us. It'll let us know, hey, I don't have access to this. So we'll get there. But the main thing I want to focus on is number 2 here, which is core profile features, basic profile creation, username selection, profile image upload, ending or editing basic info like name, title, bio. So I want to do beyond that, but I wanted to actually add the entire profile. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, first of all, I'm going to ask it, can you give the full schema as one code block? Just because I want to copy and paste it, so it's just a little bit easier. Okay, so that'll be finished in just a sec. Okay. Just close out some of these other windows. Okay. Oh, I thought it was done. My bad. All right, here we go. So we're going to copy this and let's go over to Windsurf and we're going to start a new chat and say, let's focus on the @username, because that's the where the file is, page. Right now, and before I do that, I am gonna just commit my last changes, just so that way we can revert if we need to. So let's focus on this page. Right now, the data on this page is placeholder. We need to be able to let's see, create, update, and update, read, and delete. That's also known as CRUD. That's a very classic programming term. You guys can look that up. We need to be able to create, update, read, and delete, and it needs to all be stored in a database. Here is a schema below. If data is coming from the database, let's put a green check mark next to it for now. Okay, now I'm gonna just paste, I'm gonna get rid of this little thing at the end. I'm gonna just paste this schema. The reason why I told it to put some green check marks in is because, you know, right now we've got this as our data. And what I want to confirm is that it's not some old data. Otherwise, I might be confused. So even though it'll likely, yeah, I guess it will be empty maybe to start, but either way, I think it's just a good idea. It will be easy to remove the green check marks later. Okay, so let's go to write, make sure it's on write. We're on Claude, and let's let this go to work. See how it does. Now, this is also what's called working on the back end, right? Like there's the front end, which is the stuff that we designed before. And then there's the back end. And the back end usually interfaces with the database and the servers. And, you know, I will say that working in the back end can be a lot more challenging. It requires a lot more prompting, debugging. There can be many issues that occur with authentication. It is not for the faint of heart. And it can be a little bit boring. I will be honest. But if you intend on building full-scale applications, you know, this is the only way to do it. And so I truly recommend pushing through it, learning, growing, and eventually you're going to just have yourself some awesome products that you can actually build and test and share with other people, or maybe even use for yourself. So I'm particularly excited about it, as you can tell. Yeah, let's see how it does. Let's see if we can get the basic operation working, because, you know, our dream here is we want to be able to add our own profile information. Eventually, it'd be great to, you know, maybe have some sort of, you know, resume uploader or something like that that will automatically parse it and add it here, or maybe we can add it from LinkedIn. We'll get to all that stuff later, but we need the basic operation of pulling from the database to be done now. All right, so what it asked me was npx prisma migrate dev name profile schema. So what it's done is it's created this schema, and it looks like it built some new stuff for us, replaced some old stuff. And And then what it's going to do is it's going to use Prisma, which helps write to the database. So our database, we use Neon Tech, or like neon.tech is the name of the database. And Prisma is a language that helps us easily add stuff to that database. I think is probably the most simplistic. My developer friends, please correct me in the comments. I am not a developer, but that is, from what I've read, that is what I've learned. So I think it's called also an OMR for people who are interested in the technical parts of this. But it's telling us what it's doing. It changed the profile table. It added a unique index column, a foreign key, things that we don't necessarily need to like know the details of, but it is good to see that these things are being added and created. Okay, so it does look like I wanted to show you guys this. So see how it's still spinning? I'm like, why is it stuck? Okay, I'm going to read what the output was. And like, oh, I see. We need to reset the public schema at EP. Okay, so at Neon Tech, do you want to continue? All the data will be lost. In this case, because we're at the very beginning of our project, we can lose the data. It's not important that we keep that data. But you notice that we have basically this is running here. This is our server running already in the background. And then here we have Cascade. That Cascade is this, right? So it's usually, if that's Cascade is here, it's because it's running something. And so we can see that message here. And I'm just going to scroll to the bottom and click there. I don't know why it's not showing me the blinking thing, but I'm going to assume it's there. And I'm going to say, I'm going to just press Y. So I pressed Y. It said yes, but it gave me an error. Okay, so it looks like it could not clean the database entirely. Original error. Okay, so it says that we're having issues. It looks like it already recognized the issue. Okay, so it said that the env file is get ignored, which is good practice. Let me help you set up the database connection. Okay, so it looks like it's creating some API routes. I'm pretty sure that I already have these set up. So I'm not sure why it doesn't see them. So I'm going to ask, because otherwise I got to blur that part of the video out. So I'm going to ask it. Once it's done, of course. Maybe I'll just prompt it now, though. So remember, the .env is where we store all our private keys. These can be API keys to your database, to OpenAI, to any kind of API that you might be using. So the .env is usually get ignored, meaning we don't want it to post to Git because no one should have access to these keys. That's very important. And they're kind of like they're hidden from view from even the like the only the server can really talk to it. So that's what it's telling me here. And now and I know that like we have these, it just can't see them. So I'm going to instruct it that like, hey, we'd already have this. Just like make sure, like try to connect basically. Excuse me. Seems like it's having a little trouble with the edits. Definitely a lot of changes. Let's see. So I think what this is doing, by the way, is it's creating all the routes, which is basically, in other words, it is linking the database information to the actual profile. So when we look here, well, the about section, that needs to come from the database and be pulled in here. So when we say we're setting up an API route to the profile page, what it means is that it is actually, this is needing to connect it and link it to the database, and that's where that information will get pulled from. So just something to be aware of. That's why, what it's doing and why it's doing it. All right, it's almost done. Hopefully it'll be finished soon, and then we can do the rest here. Okay, it looks like it is. Okay, let's just check our server here. I do see that we got an error, but let's send it this message. I think we have those set up in the env. I think it's going to know what we're talking about because it mentioned it before. Yeah, I'm just going to say we do. All right, let's try. If it still has an issue, we'll know that maybe it's some issue on that part of the file. All right, while that's doing that, let's just take a look at these errors. Oh, sorry, it did pull up here. Let's just see if it will allow us to do it this time. We're going to press Y because it's asking us to reset the public schema. Hopefully it works, crossing my fingers. Okay, I think that it actually worked. Great, your database is now synced with your schema. Update available. This is a major update. Please follow the guide. Okay, so that was with Prisma. I think for now, I'm not going to update Prisma. This could create a lot of problems for us. So we're going to hang on to that. I think it's really important that you guys, this is a good learning lesson. Doing updates that have breaking changes can be a giant headache. And so I definitely advise you to follow the guides very closely if you're going to do that. But for now, we don't have time for it. So, but it looks like we were able to do what we needed to do. I'm going to accept all those changes, and let's just go take a look at our app and see if anything has changed. I'm just going to refresh this. Actually, yeah. So we need to check our server too. We do have a bunch of errors. So let's go back here. Let's copy these errors. And there's a good, yeah, there's not too many actually. What you can do now, by the way, is inside of the terminal here, if you press Command L, and it's telling you here you can do it. You can even click this. It will add it to the term, into here. So I have to actually delete this other one. But yeah, Command L, that adds it to here, and I'm just gonna literally press Enter. And that'll just take all the things I highlighted and put it into here so it reads the errors. All right, so let's just take a look at what those errors were, just out of curiosity. Okay. Yeah, it looks like some just basic stuff. I don't think it's going to have to do too much to figure this issue out. I think it's the same error 3 times, by the way. There's something about being expecting a certain type of identifier, but it showed another one. Sure. Don't know exactly what that means, but that's fine. Okay, let's take a look at our page here. Okay, yeah, we're still seeing those errors. That's all right. scroll down to the bottom here. We'll see if we get a 200. When this turns green 200, that means we're in business. We'll know that our app is running, but it is not yet. And so I do see still a bunch of errors. I'm going to restart the server just so we can see clean errors. So what I do is I click into here and I press Control C, and that kind of clears the terminal and stops the server running. And then I press actually the up arrow because it remembers what I did before. And I do npm run dev to restart the server. So it's compiling, it's doing its thing. Should show yeah, there's our first errors. Okay, so let's go back here. Same thing, we're just gonna copy paste, Command L, press enter. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, let's take a look at this error too. Yeah, it looks like it was just like confused about some tokens again. And there's not too many errors. Thing is, sometimes with errors, like you'll see one error, you'll need to fix that first until it can show you the rest of the errors, because it can't like run the rest of the code to like debug it properly. So hopefully there aren't a billion of these that we have to roll through, but this is like the reality of backend, coding is like you have a lot of errors you're going to have to push through. But a tool like Windsurf is very equipped to be able to manage it. I think Cursor AI, Windsurf, these are like kind of like the top end of tooling. I'd say that Replit is probably in that same category depending on its usage and how you use it. But I think Cursor and Windsurf have kind of nailed the UX a little bit better than they have. If you're going to use a tool like Lovable or Versal, they're quite good, but they're not going to be able to like solve these very complex problems. I think as well, it'll be a lot harder just because the way the interfaces work. You don't have access to the actual code base, and that's critically important for debugging, editing, changing things, highlighting very specific sections, helping instruct the LLM where it might be hallucinating or be on the wrong path, which happens frequently. So that's why I think, using a tool like this, we can get there, but it's oftentimes like brute force. Now, for those of you who understand how to be a backend developer already, you're just going to be turbocharged with this because you'll know exactly what's going on and exactly what's wrong. So the more education you receive in this, the better you're going to become at this. That is just the reality. Okay, it looks like it had a lot of problems with how it was trying to fix the syntax and kept trying a few times and did not work. Now it's like rewriting the entire file, which sometimes works when I do this, and sometimes it's a complete disaster. So when it's a disaster, usually what I'll do is quit the app and start a fresh chat, because sometimes it just gets a little bit overloaded. But it looks like it might go through here. It's cleaning things up. I'm hoping it'll get us to a good place. Certainly fixing one error at a time, that's for sure. You can see them all pinging. Almost there. Oh, okay. It says that it is. It says that it is done. We do still have some remaining errors. Let's just restart the server and see what errors pop up. Okay. Oops. All right. Let's grab these and paste that in here. Yeah, I think there's just some leftover stuff. Let's go take a look at what that data was. I think it was this profile data JSON. So this is what we were using. And then what is it? I guess let's click on this to see what it's actually editing. So this page is in username. So let's, okay, so it's under username. That's our actual profile page. And yeah, this is some of the new stuff it's added, but this information probably should be connected through the database. So we'll have to take a look at that, make sure. Oh, maybe what it's saying is that is like the original data. Yeah, that's the fallback data, my bad. So then we can see the difference. Down below here, it's removed a bunch of that old fallback data. And here is where it's pulling in from the database. So we can see user data dot highlights, and then from database. Okay, so it looks like it's done with that. Let's just take a look what errors we got. There's going to be more, guaranteed. Let's just scroll up. Okay, we're going to restart the server again just to get a clean look. All right. We may, if in this pass we don't get like to where we need to get, we may need to ask it some questions to help it, you know, figure out the problem. Okay, still going. While that's doing its thing, I am going to write a prompt and we're going to do a chat. So I just wrote, we're having a bunch of errors with the server. Can you walk me through why we're having them? And the intention of this is a lot of times like the LLM gets confused and it like loses context, you know, it's just like it basically starts to hallucinate So we need to ask it to like rethink its logic. And so here I'm kind of like, I'm personally trying to understand it so that I can give it more information so that I can help fix the problem. Um, so I'm gonna copy the most recent. Well, we're gonna restart the server, and then we'll copy the information over. And instead of having it just jump to solutioning, let's have it explain its solutioning. So we'll paste that in, and we're gonna, instead of have it do it, we're gonna just chat. And also, this might be a case where we want to enlist the services of another model. You know, like Claude is fantastic. I mean, generally speaking, it's just my number one. It's just on occasion where we can't figure something out, we want to take a fresh look, fresh eyes on it. Let's ask another model. So we might try. I do like usually ChatGPT Mini is not bad, or O3 Mini is not bad. I have had some success with that. So we might take a look at that, but let's just see. We have multiple syntax errors in the file because we have been removing mock data, but haven't properly cleaned up the remaining structure. Let me fix to removing all of it. I see the issue now. We have some leftover mock data, incorrect syntax. Let me clean this up. It's just getting confused because it doesn't know if we're in write or chat mode. So it's explaining that it's mostly syntax issues, which means like there's some data in here that it's not aligning with what we were doing before. We had a lot of mock data in the fallback data we're cleaning up. During the cleanup, some of the syntax got broken, leaving incomplete arrays. Yeah, and we had extra commas, brackets. That's usually the problem. Okay. Well, let's give it one more shot to do it. And because I think it understands the problem now, let's give it one more try. Do it. Oh boy, started off with an error right off the bat. Not great, but let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it down. We're gonna what we're gonna do is we're going to start a new chat. We're gonna paste that same thing in. We're gonna write, and we're just gonna enlist the help of another model. So we're gonna use O3 Mini, which is the Chat GPT version. It does a great job with logic, reasoning, and code. So let's try it out. Let's see how it does. Usually, it's pretty good at diagnosing problems and figuring out a solution. So I haven't really compared them side by side on writing code, although I have had some good experiences. You know, while this is thinking, I'll show you guys this. Oh well, yeah, unfortunately this isn't loaded up, but if you remember the visualization that we created with for our network tab, which was pretty cool, that was actually built using ChatGPT's Canvas. Because I just was prompting it to ask it how to do it. And then I actually copied and pasted the code into here and asked it to build it. And so I'll show you the library that I used actually. It's a really cool one that Airbnb came up with. So they've built a visualization library for React, and it's called VizX. And yeah, it does a wonderful job. And there's like a whole gallery of different data visualization things that you can build. And using this in conjunction with like ChatGPT's Canvas was like just an awesome experience. So and I really had like pretty granular level control just by prompting. So we're going to do another tutorial on that. I think that'll actually be pretty cool. Anyways, let's go back here. It said, can you share any error messages you're seeing without specific logs? Yeah, I mean, I did, but I will share it again. Maybe it was confused. So I think it lacks context of like where to look too. Okay, can you review the whole page though in at username? Yeah, I know it's this one page. All right, let's see how it does here. Yeah, the O3 Mini from ChatGPT like really deeply thinks about things. So sometimes it does take a minute to go through it. But yeah, I think it'll hopefully come up with a good solution here. Okay, so I'm just reading through this. Looks like it didn't like our fallback data. Okay, fix it. So sometimes Claude does a much better job like working with Windsurf to like generate code and fix things for us. For some reason, like O3 likes to prompt us with questions before it makes any decisions, which I guess could be really beneficial. But sometimes I just like to power through these things. So let's see if it can fix it for us, or if we need to like switch back to Claude or another model. And that can be done, right? Like even though we did some of the reasoning and logic to kind of like figure out diagnose the problem, sometimes that's required. Then we can switch back to another model that might be better at writing the code for it, like Claude, that also could be even less costly. Like Claude, for example, is one of the more costly models, but maybe even DeepSeek, where you can do it for a lot cheaper. Yeah, it's definitely taking a while though. And we may have to stop it down to if it's taking too long. Okay, here it goes. A lot of changes, a lot of removals. Well, the good thing is I'm seeing a lot of 200s here. Some of the stuff is missing. Um, but yeah, this is pretty good. So let's do a server refresh just to like kind of see what's going on here on a clean slate. Okay, it says ready. Let's just try to load the page just to see what happens. Okay, so as good as the app is loading, what's bad is the data is not showing. So let's take a look here, and we'll just copy this and paste it in so that I can understand what's going on. All right, looks like the page is about to make some edits, which is great. I wonder what its diagnosis is here. Looks like there was only 2 things it had to remove. And I think it had some other issues here with the routing for some reason. Yeah, while we're over here and waiting, let's look at that network tab again. So yeah, this graphic here is what I was talking about. This one actually I developed with ChatGPT's Canvas. So if you haven't tried that out, I'll just show you briefly. If you can select any of the models, I believe. Let's just use 4.0. And I think if you type in Canvas, there might also be a way with the plus. But and I thought there might be a way here too. But yeah, I think if you said like, can you use Canvas to create a circle chart with another circle? Well, I think maybe like a concentric circle chart like this. And I think what I did was I literally just went to concentric circles overlapping. And I like, yeah, exactly. I found a graphic like that. And I'll just say like chart. Yeah, I think I can't remember which one I found, but like let's just do, yeah, we can do one like this and like just copy the image and then paste it. Oh, and actually before I do that, I do want to, is there a way to edit that? Oh, that's funny. Let's do it again and copy clean link. And I forgot to tell it use viz x. Oh, and I don't know why I think I have to copy it again. It's just like an image, copy image. Okay, now let's see how it does. All right, that's just like a side quest, but it looks like it made some adjustments and we got a 200 here. That's really good news. Let's go take a look at our page. All right, profile page, a lot of errors. Okay, not quite there yet. Looks like the other page got us a 200, but this did not. Let's restart the server, start again, just to check. Sometimes starting from the back end ends up being a little bit easier, but you know, here we started with building the front end first. I think it's visually easier to kind of like understand the experience before building any of the back end. But yeah, I think it's choose your poison here. Let's just refresh the page here. I don't see any errors, and I want to see errors because I know that there are errors. All right, is that done doing its thing? It is. Let's feed this, and I'm going to actually go back over to Claude, and let's have it give this a shot. It's just a lot faster, and I think it can hopefully figure out these issues now. Had a different idea about Next.js, so hopefully that's correct. While that's doing it, let's have a look here at what it did. So look, it opened up here the canvas and it wrote some code, and then let's preview it. Okay, like not bad. Still needs some work. It probably didn't do a great job just understanding what this image was. So we could describe this a little bit better, and I'm sure it would do a great job with it. But I just wanted to show you at least that this is how you can build charts very dynamically, even tell it to have interaction and everything with code that could be displayed here, and then yeah, you could, export this by taking a screenshot. I think you can, yeah, you can share it with people. It's pretty cool. Okay, I see a 200, but I don't think it's working just yet. Okay, we are getting a lot of errors there. Let's take a look. Let's inspect also our console here. I'm seeing like a million console errors. Let's just copy all of them. And I'm going to just paste all those in there just because they might also be affecting this. It's likely a server issue, but let's see. All right, it says, I see now we're mixing client-side and server-side code incorrectly since we're using use client directive and trying to use async wait in a client component. We need to restructure this. So it looks like it wrote the code poorly, which is okay. We don't know how to do it ourselves, so that's why we asked the computer to do it for us. But again, if you're something about backend dev here, then you're in business because you understand the problem. You can explain the problem better. I wish I knew how to explain it better other than copying and pasting. Maybe over time I'll learn, but yeah, sometimes brute force is the way to go. It's creating this extra page called profile, which, we didn't have before. And it looks like it has some of the information, actually all the information that we need here. And then it looks like it's structuring maybe the page differently than before. Interesting. Oh, okay. So it's removing all that and then it's basically adding profile into it. That's my guess. So, and I bet if we look, those are all the removals. And if we go up here, you see profile. That is referencing this file, which has all our data. Seems like a good move. Let's accept. I got a 200, which is good. And then let's just refresh this page. We have no user data available, which could be correct. Let's just inspect the console, see if there's any other errors here. There is one error. Let's just copy that error. I don't know if that error has something to do with it. It could just be that our database doesn't have data. So while we're doing that, let's go over to our database and see if the data, the columns have been added to it. Excuse me. So we have to go to here to tables. We have to change this to assembly. That was the name of our database. And we have a bunch of tables here that I don't think we had before. Let's see, is there yeah, here's the user table. So There's no data there. There is, let's check like education, no data. Okay, so there isn't any data. Let's see if we can add some. All right, so I think it fixed that error. And let's just check our app to make sure it's running. Okay. Okay, using the mock data I provided, or I had before, can we add, well, actually, maybe what we'll do is we need an empty state for the profile creation. Maybe use, and I think Radix has like a skeleton thing. Let's take a look here. I think it's under primitives, but let's check. Skeleton. Skeleton. Is that what it's called? Let's check under themes. Skeleton. Yeah. So skeletons are like the these kind of like loading state components. Then I want to be able to add the data into each section once a user clicks edit profile. So yeah, I realize we haven't created that like UI before. You know, there isn't really an empty state. There isn't really a way to edit. So we're gonna try to do it, and hopefully it works. But yeah, we confirmed that, you know, it says that there's no data found, and we checked in the database, and there's no data in the database. So it makes sense that there's an issue right now, but I don't see any other errors anywhere else, which gives me a clue that, you know, we're in business, we're in fine shape. I could have asked it to add some mock data into the database, but I'm pretty confident we're in good shape. So, and if not, we'll troubleshoot it later. But for now, let's see if we can add these empty states and figure this part out. And of course, you could design this stuff before and feed it in, like, you know, I've taught you how before, you know, using Figma and like the builder.io plugin. But for now, like, this state is not that important to me. I think this, you know, Windsurf has already kind of learned the style of my app. So it's kind of working within the system. And if there are issues, I'll go and design it later. But I kind of like to sometimes just let it do its thing. If it does a pretty good job, then yeah, I'll just make some tweaks and we'll be good to go. Okay. I do need to check my calendar, guys. Sorry, 1 second. All right, we're good. All right, so compiled. Let's take a look at this thing and see what it looks like. Interesting. So there's this create profile button. It didn't really give us a proper empty state. But let's see what happens. Anything happen when I click that? Don't see anything in the server. Don't see anything in the console except for this. All right, well, all I see is a create profile button, but we need an empty state using the skeleton to show the structure of the profile. Also, since the user is already authenticated, we should have their first and last name and profile picture. And it's also possible that my, my data, since we cleared the entire database before, my data of authenticating could not be there anymore. So we may need to basically sign out and sign in. Now it should recognize that. That's one of the issues we have with our authentication setup right now, is it's not recognizing the difference between a user who's authenticated and who's not, and what routes they're able to see, meaning what what URLs they're able to see. So when I say routes, I'm kind of like talking about this. So like -Adam Perlis, like that you shouldn't be able to get there until you're signed in. Even like the homepage, maybe yes, but and this is like a rough homepage, not needs a lot of work. But the dashboard, oh wow, we've got a lot of things going on here. I'm gonna quit some of this stuff. Sorry guys. Let's quit Figma. Seems like our stuff is overloading at the moment. And ChatGPT. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Why is stocks open? Yeah, so basically, these other pages, they should, like, we shouldn't be able to see the feed without being signed in. So, yeah, and I don't think we need to create a profile button, but let's just see what's going on now. Maybe hopefully it did what I asked it to do. It's there on the top right, but I'm not seeing any of this skeleton stuff. Let's see if we can even see it. So there's some structure here. Maybe it's the color. We can't see it just yet. I'm seeing, though, there is something happening here structurally. And then, but not the whole page, just certain parts. Okay. Well, we don't need a create profile button, really. Just an edit profile button. Also, I can't see the skeleton. And maybe they are not dark enough against our background. While that's doing that, I'm just going to press create and see what happens. Okay, well, it's doing something. Handling everything in a modal, which I don't want. I want to just keep it all in line. So let's see if we can fix that. And maybe like there's some other tools like let's see if I can think about it. Medium style editor, like API. I know there's this like JavaScript library. Yeah, here it is, editor.js. So this isn't exactly what I want, but I kind of want something like this, like a live editor. Okay, let's just see if that did what we wanted, or like we're gonna have to make some changes. Yeah, I'm getting some errors. Let's just go here. I'm gonna restart the server and just get some fresh errors. Okay, let's grab that. Yeah, let's take a quick peek at this. So this is actually a pretty cool tool. It's free. It's a block style editor with universal JSON output. I heard about these guys. It's actually like pretty awesome. I tried it out. I think there's a way. Yeah, here we go. Play with demo. Oh, sorry. Here we go. So like you can choose between some different items. So like, let's say we wanted to add text, we can just type text. And then like, let's say we wanted a heading and say heading. Let's say we want like an image. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it has like this stuff kind of built in, and I think you can kind of build your own system around this. So we may even end up using it because I think it's totally open source and free, which is just incredible. And yeah, I could see this being really useful for this particular editor. So, and let's just see, there's a documentation here. So, all right, hopefully our errors got resolved. I see 200. Okay, so they did to a certain extent, but we're still missing information. Okay, let's see if we can just like check out any of this stuff. Is anything showing up here? Okay, so what's good is the skeletons are here. The question is, like, why can't we see them? Let's just check their styles. And also, they're not getting any height. I mean, like, for some reason it's canceled out. Yeah, let's just move that over. I can see it's 0, 0. So I'm going to just note that these skeletons don't seem to be getting any height or width. So this is just like, again, debugging, right? Like, let's inspect it. Let's see what's going on. Let's explain what we think might be happening. Like, I didn't know what was happening, but I was like, I looked at the colors and I didn't see anything that looked, out of the ordinary. I thought it could be a different color, but the colors look correct. And then I kind of like just hovered over this, and like when I did it here and I saw 0, 0 on, I don't know if you can see that on the left side there, or to the right side where it says span RT skeleton. Oops. yeah, that whole section where it's in blue, and then on the right there's a 0 times 0, just telling me that the height is not there. So now it's making the updates. Okay, it says it's doing it. It's obviously defined it here, height and width, but it's still displaying at 0, 0. I see the class names as defining the height and width, but the browser is rendering them as 0, 0, and the height and width are grayed out in the inspect console. I want to use Radix. I don't want it to do that. It's telling us that it's going to try to build its own. So I'm going to revert this change. I'm going to say, keep using Radix. Okay, so maybe it did have some issue with Tailwind and Radix conflicting. So let's just see if we can fix the issue. If not, maybe we'll take a different approach to this, because the skeleton just could be throwing a wrench in everything. Yeah, and the more I think about it, probably should have prepared a way to do this, in advance with design. But yeah, sometimes you got to figure these things out and make mistakes along the way. Yeah, since this is going to be a pretty big endeavor, I think what we're going to do is we may revert back to when we saw that there was no data in the database, and to kind of conclude this tutorial, I'd like to just show that the data is showing up. So maybe if this doesn't work now, we will do that, just so we can kind of wrap things up here. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stop it down. We're going to do that. So let's just go back to where we gave it the instruction to begin with. And let's see. I think this is where we were at. Well, let me just double check that. All right, so yeah, it says no user data. All right, so can we add, all right, I'm gonna actually start a new chat. Can we add the mock data I had before to the database so we can test if it's displaying and connecting correctly? So this might need to write a database migration. So we'll see. This would be using probably Prisma is my guess. What's good is we had all the data before in profile data JSON, so it should hopefully be pretty seamless, but let's see. There's always issues. Yeah, so there it is, writing the Prisma code to like write to the database. All right, it's gonna install this thing. Let's see. Looks like there's some sort of dependency. All right, let's run it. So that's going to push our changes to the database. And it looks like we did have an error. Okay, we're going to try it again. There's another error. It's possible that our schema had more data than, or like more fields than we have in our current JSON. So it looks like it's trying to match that so that it has the things that we're going to push. Okay, hopefully this is the last one. One more warning and error. All right, crossing my fingers. Okay, database seeded with mock data. Let's go take a look, see if we can refresh this, see if we're seeing some data in here. Okay, a little concerned I don't see anything in some of these. Yeah, we're in the right, I think we're in the right database. Let me just double check there isn't anything else here. Yeah. Check our user. Okay, we do have user information. Ah, interesting. Okay, so yeah, it should. Okay, I'm not seeing the data though in those places. So we will ask about that, but let's just take a look here, double check. We might need to restart our server. And refresh. I thought maybe at minimum we would see the username here. So let's see. Profile information match. Okay, but I don't see any data in the at username. Okay, I'm not sure what this does, but user. I've like literally never seen this before, so very curious. We'll do what it says to run the server, and let's go back here. Just gonna refresh the page. Yeah, I'm just seeing no user data available. Let's see if we get any errors. I mean, we have this error, which I'm not sure what that means, but nope. The page says no user data available, and I only see this error. And also, just gonna grab this just in case. Okay, maybe this was the issue, but we'll see. But yeah, this is really important in terms of debugging. It's like look for errors on the front end, which can be found in the console inside of here when you do inspect, right click, inspect, press console. You're looking for errors there. You're looking for errors here in the server. That's how you can kind of figure this out. I see something. So I think the username for was for Adam Perlis. Or sorry. Do we need to authenticate again through Google, perhaps? Could be an authentication issue where we need to re-authenticate. We talked a little bit about that before, because remember, it deleted all our users. So I might do that while it's doing its thing. I need to go to this route that we had set up. I think it was this one. Let's check. Or you know what? It might be auth dash sign in. Yeah, and we actually probably need to sign up. We haven't edited this page in a long time, but let's do sign up with Google. I'm going to select my Academy account. And now that we've done that, I'm going to do continue with Google, sign in. Let's see if, I'm not sure if that did the trick, but yeah, I think that's a little screwy. Okay, all this stuff is already set up. Okay, it's going to use Prisma, but like there's no, yeah, I mean, we just have this data here. But I think that's the data, like the mock data that it added. Let's just see. I think it made these up. So I guess this is, can I copy this? Yeah, so I just copied all of that information from this database that it gave me. I just clicked check and I did Command C, and then I pasted it here. We are going to have to figure out that whole authentication thing because it's a bit tricky. I think it's like, it's just using this mock data. We need it to use whoever signed in's data, not like this random profile. Okay, well, this is a big problem. I see it says, I noticed the profile component we're passing from database to all the components, but this prop isn't defined in all our data. Well, in that case, it's not going to show. Hopefully that's not going to be a giant breaking change. Okay, well, at least something's changed here. Well, one reason that might not exist is because our username is called Academy now, based on the database. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so getting something there. That's a positive. Let's just see what errors we got. Let's restart the server just to get a fresh look. Yeah, and it told us, take a look at /academy, right? Which is exactly what I did. So I'll refresh this so the errors will log here. Okay, that's finished. So I can go back here and copy all these errors and paste them in. Okay, it looks like there was an issue in the publication interface where there's like some sort of date formatting issue. That definitely happens a lot. Dates can be tricky. So not surprised to see an error like that. All right, it seems to, oh, here we go. Nice. All right, so we are displaying information from our database. Let's go take a look at the database real quick. So that information is currently being stored in user. And so we do see this info. Let's just check. Wondering, like, it's getting my name, right? Oh no, yeah, okay, Academy. So in this case, it fed that information into the database, which is coming from here, name. Obviously, we would want my name, Adam Perlis, but you know, we're going to need to connect this for real to Google's authentication system so that we can pull that information in. But we are getting a bunch of other stuff here. Now we're missing info and experiences and like these other categories. As we can literally see here in the UI, we do have like about and some like high level stuff. One other weird thing is that some of the UI and layout has changed based on what we had before, so we may need to fix some of that. But we are pulling data from a database into our application. I think we're going to pause here. Our next video will be getting our authentication working and connected properly. And we'll also show how to like add a new profile from scratch through that experience. And then hopefully edit it, maybe using our editor.js concept. And then eventually, even how to like delete a profile and all that, just because we need to complete the CRUD operations we talked about, right? The create, read, update, delete. But I think that's it for today. We've covered a lot of topics. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's very long, very tedious. Backend stuff is tough, but hopefully you seeing my struggles getting through it and getting to a place where we finally have something that's workable, will help you guys in your journey. So stay tuned for more, and thanks again for tuning in.